All right, let's talk about something we all use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. Musical genres. Are they real? A fundamental part of the music itself? Or are they just the most successful marketing trick ever pulled? Let's get into it. So I want you to imagine something. You walk into this huge record store, but there are no labels. No rock, no jazz, no hip-hop, nothing. Just thousands and thousands of records and a massive, unorganized wall of sound. How on earth would you find anything you like? It'd be complete and utter chaos, right? And that feeling of chaos, well, that brings us right to the big question we're tackling today. Is genre something that actually exists in the music, or is it just an invention, a clever trick to make all that beautiful noise manageable and, of course, profitable? To get started, we've got to be honest with ourselves. We need some kind of system. We just do. That's really the origin of genre. It started as a necessary label, a way for us to find our way through that infinite sea of sound. So if you look it up in a dictionary, this is pretty much what you'll get. A category based on similarities in form, style, or subject matter. Okay, sounds simple enough, but what does that really mean when you're actually listening? Well, in practice, these labels are just mental shortcuts. The second you hear the word jazz, your brain just fills in the blanks, right? You expect some improvisation, maybe some brass instruments. You hear rock, and you're already thinking about electric guitars and a strong beat. These categories give us a baseline, a set of expectations that help us make choices in a snap. But, and this is a big but, where did these labels actually come from? Because if you dig into that question, you find that it leads you away from the art and straight to the marketing engine behind the whole industry. So picture this. It's the early 20th century, and suddenly, thanks to the phonograph, people can own music. Music is no longer just a performance, it's a product. And what do you do with products? You market them. The industry very quickly figured out that to sell records, it needed categories. Not for artistic reasons, but to aim at very specific customers. And this really gets to the core of it. Early labels like race records or hillbilly music, they weren't describing musical theory. They weren't about what was happening in the songs. They were demographic boxes. They were designed to tell record stores who to sell to and what ads to run. The marketing came first, and the music had to squeeze itself inside that box. So if genre was pretty much born out of a sales strategy, does music itself actually follow these rules? That's what brings us to the fluid, messy reality of how music is actually made. I mean, just think about so much of the music being made today. Is it electronic? Is it pop? Is it jazz? And the answer is usually, well, yeah, it's all of those things. Music is really a fluid spectrum. The most exciting artists are always coloring outside the lines, borrowing from everywhere, creating these amazing hybrids that totally defy any one label. Genre is like building a fence across an open field that has no natural borders. And that's where there's a real danger here. As one source perfectly puts it, when we label something, we stop hearing what it is and start hearing what we expect it to be. The second you slap that label on, your brain's expectations kick in. You start listening for the things that confirm the label, and you might completely miss all the incredible stuff that doesn't fit. The genre becomes a filter on your ears. You can only imagine what this is like for the artists themselves. This marketing tool can literally become a creative prison. If an artist gets labeled as country, using a synthesizer might get them in trouble. If you're a classical composer, throwing in a heavy metal drum beat might be seen as some kind of betrayal. The system rewards playing it safe over being curious. So, that's the old world. What about right now, in the age of streaming? Well, that needs us straight to the algorithm's vibe. You know how this works. Today, it's the algorithms that have replaced those old record store bins. And they don't really care about historical genres like rock or soul. Nope. They analyze the raw data of what you're listening to, the tempo, the key, the mood, and they just go find other songs that share the same vibe. And this has created a completely new set of labels. I mean, look at these. They're not about a musical tradition or a history. They're about utility. They answer the question, what do you need this music for? Are you studying? Are you trying to chill out? Do you want to feel a certain emotion? The genre is now defined by its job in your life. Okay, so we've seen genre as this really useful shortcut, but also as this limiting commercial box. So, what's the big takeaway? That brings us to our final idea. The map, not the territory. At the end of the day, it's all about this. Genre is the map. It's a fantastic tool, an absolutely essential guide for navigating the massive world of music. It gives us a language to talk to each other about what we love, but we can never, ever mistake that map for the territory itself, for the actual rich, complex, borderless reality of the music. The map is just a sketch. It's not the real landscape. And that really leaves us with a final question to chew on. We need the map to keep from getting lost, for sure, but the real adventure, the real discovery, almost always begins the moment you decide to step off the marked path. The most exciting, groundbreaking sounds are the ones that live in the spaces between the labels. So the only question left is, what are you going to listen for next?